Hello everyone. So because this is a new strike, I wanted to get some form of GM Nightfall guide rolling here, especially because I think there are some good optimizations to make that are going to make your life a lot easier in this place. The footage you're going to be watching is my team at minus 38 levels as opposed to minus 25, so your runs will likely look a bit smoother and or you will be dealing more damage. Loadout wise, Strand is a godsend in GMs, especially Titans and Hunters, for suspending unstoppable champions. You're also going to be fighting Overload champions in here, but they don't show up for quite a while, and even when they do, they aren't really the toughest champion to deal with. I would definitely suggest one, maybe two people on an Overload weapon, but if you bring enough Strand, you won't even need unstoppable weapons, although one as a backup, if you want to do that, is totally fine. Gun-wise, unless something happens to machine guns, then I think there's very little reason to not use them here, and in most other pieces of content, especially when combined with Aeons, where you're just finishing champions and getting power ammo non-stop. I would avoid double primary at all times, especially with the new champion stunning tools that we have, but otherwise, your loadout's it's pretty open here. I've been using conditional finality for unstoppable champions. That's been working phenomenally. But if you don't have that, a chill clip fusion rifle like Riptide will be able to stun both overloads and unstoppables in one gun. That's pretty good. The first optimization to make is when you scale the cliffside and make it to the first big combat room with all the unstoppable champions. There are a small handful of Minotaurs in this room that, when killed, will drop a Vex Cranium, but this Cranium only drops if you get the kill or at least contribute some amount of damage. I'm pretty sure, anyway. The point is, you want to grab and hold on to as many of these Craniums as possible for the next section, as it's going to dramatically speed up the process here. We don't do it in this footage here, but I do have an example, and you'll see how much slower we go compared to if we had Craniums. Otherwise, in this section, you're just taking out unstoppable champions, and again, I highly suggest having a Strand player to handle a lot of that. Trust me, it's going to make your life so much easier to have someone on a Strand build to just infinite suspend those unstoppable champions. Check out the Strand builds on the channel. You can, of course, use the Craniums here if you wish, but I suggest you save as much ammo as possible on the Craniums for the next big section. The skill issue here is the fact that you will need to juggle the Craniums as you're dealing with ads. Juggling literally meaning you drop the Cranium, you shoot for a few seconds, you pick it back up, you put it back down, you shoot for a few seconds, etc. You're literally picking it up and down again multiple times so that it doesn't despawn, because if you leave it alone for too long, it'll despawn. So this next section, you're going to have a bunch of Cabal, you got Scion Snipers, Centurions, Legionnaire, you got some turrets. As you enter, kill the turrets on each of the 4 platforms, and then I would focus on the Scion Snipers. They're scattered all around this area, up high, down low, on the opposite side of the field, and it feels like they teleport around, which can be pretty annoying. Not by design, by the way. I'm wiping them out first, and then I'm taking out the rest of the enemies as I can get to them. After a short while, or after you kill all the enemies here, the Tormentor is going to spawn in, and this is where the Craniums come into play. Although I do think you should probably shoot off the shoulders first, then use the Craniums on the chest, but it probably doesn't matter that much. The reason we do this is to save a ton of time trying to kill this Tormentor. This Tormentor is a gigantic time and ammo sink. It is very resistant to all forms of damage, and this fight results in people just firing primary ammo at its chest for minutes on end. It's very boring. There is absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. My team did it our first time through because we just didn't know any better, but it's just very time consuming, and the longer you spend doing a thing, the more opportunities there are to die while doing it. There are teams that will bring Divinity specifically for this boss fight, just so they can speed things up. It is that boring, it is that long, it is that much of an ammo sink. Sure, yeah, there are overloads, but like I said earlier, they're not that big of a deal to the point where you need Divinity for them. People literally bring Divinity just for this guy, which is probably a sign that they should really reduce his health. You're also going to have a couple of waves of Cabal coming in with 1 unstoppable per wave. These should be cleared out with a super if you got one. Also, if you do execute this strategy very well and kill the Tormentor before the unstops, you will despawn the unstops and that will mess up your platinum rating. So make sure you kill all of the unstoppables. Okay, so after fighting that dude for forever, you're going to go into the Vex network. This jump down is a little dicey because you have 2 unstoppable champions, a couple of Centurions firing darts at you, and the portals shooting the Taken blasts of energy at you. The Taken portal fires in a straight line, and it's going to keep doing it over and over in that exact same path, so just move out of the way. The Centurions should be killed immediately. They're very annoying, and then you can handle the unstoppables as normal. The only snag you're going to run into here is lack of communication. If one person is jumping, you should probably all jump. Just be on the same page. Nothing wrong with trying to take out the close unstop before jumping down either. Just coordinate. Just make sure you're all on the same page. Next, we have the Blight Room. We got Minotaurs with craniums dropping, and then lots of Taken Scions. The Scions hurt. Don't get caught off guard here. They're in little bunches around the room. Just take them out in their groups and then destroy the Blights. I think you can use 1 cranium here to take out most of the Blights, but try to get as many craniums from the Minotaurs as possible for a little trick coming up. This is another case of, like, look, if you're going to learn it from anyone, you might as well learn it from me, okay? I'm not happy about the little trick that you can do here, but you're probably going to do it anyway, so let's be safe about it, okay? When you use the launcher to go to the next section, you're going to lose a lot of your movement capabilities from your character, and that's because the game wants you to avoid the Taken portal blasters while being on your Sparrow. And this section, as is, it's not very hard. You can slow roll this as much as you want, and you'll get through it just fine. I think maybe the very end is where you got to be a little bit careful. But the trick, which I haven't really been able to nail down 100% since I've only gotten to do this place a couple of times, is that it is possible to get a cranium from the Blight Room right before it, take it up the launcher, and shoot one of the portals, which will despawn all of the portals. When you trigger the checkpoint, the craniums are supposed to despawn, but I think if someone takes a cranium up with them into the launcher, the game will leave 1 cranium still spawned on the ground in the previous room. Normally, the cranium you would do this with is at the end, but you can do it at the start with this trick. I'm sure someone in the comments will explain how to do this once we actually get access to the strike for more than 1 run. Also, it is very possible that this trick no longer works, depending on when you're watching this. Maybe it got patched out, so just be aware of that. Otherwise, Sparrow section, just take it slow. If you die, you're going to spawn at the start of the Sparrow section, meaning there's no way to get your res unless someone's already back there, and your ghost will have to be pulled forward, which I'll explain in a minute. It's like the corrupted strike situation with the big jump, where you used to spawn at the top if you died, and if you're just like the last person, then you were just kind of screwed and nobody can get your res and you had to be dragged forward. Same thing. Same concept here. So try not to die. After that is this stretch of 4 overload hobgoblins. I don't recall them really being that threatening because they just do the stasis attack, so you can just kind of strafe back and forth. They don't have a sniper, but they can still kill you with retaliation blasts, so just be careful. And there's also some regular hobgoblins that will snipe you, so just take them out really quickly. There's 1 right after the Sparrow section, then there are 2 on this next big platform, 1 per side, left and right, and then 1 final one after the big platform. After these hobgoblins is where you'll be able to drag any Sparrow death ghosts forward. They're going to spawn on the upper platform that leads to the final section before the boss. Be careful of the sniper vandals and the Taken captain here, especially if you're trying to go after a res along with all of the portal Taken blaster things, because they'll get you if you're not ready for them. Here we have another Minotaur section with the craniums and the whatnot needing to take out all of the portals. You also have a couple more overloads, but they are really non-threatening. At 50% of the portals being destroyed, you will spawn 3 ogres in the middle of the room. These should be super down, or whatever you got as a cranium is going to be able to fully restore your super in the next section, as we will discuss. Then you can just finish off the rest of the room. It's going to be thrall everywhere and blah, blah, blah. But again, get as many craniums as possible here. Make sure you're getting killing blows on those Minotaurs. I think these craniums will sit on the ground and will not despawn unless you pick it up. So keep as many as you can fully charged on the ground, then pick them up as you go to the boss section. Okay, so the boss. First off, it is possible to die in a way that prevents you from being revived. your ghost will get thrown into the floor in between some of the cracks in the ground, and there's no way to get you. So I don't know. I don't know how to avoid that. I guess, like, avoid dying on the ramps or the ramped area. Also, this can happen in other parts of the strike too. Like, that's fun. I don't know if there's a way to prevent this from happening. Your positioning, maybe, where you die. I really don't know. Just don't die. How about that? Just don't die. That's a good solution. So everyone's got craniums. Cool. If you have a super and you have a full cranium, especially if it's a one-off super, not a roaming super, use your super, then go back to your cranium, because if you use the cranium on the boss, you're basically going to get your super back. If you have a roaming super, someone else needs to juggle your cranium. That's not a euphemism, but honestly, for this first chunk of the boss's health, it doesn't matter that much if you super or you don't super. It's not that big of a deal. If you got a one-off, cool. If you don't, hold it. The boss spawns in. You do a little damage. Then you get a wave of ads, including a champion, 4 Centurions, and a bunch of Phalanx. I think it's 4 Centurions. Centurions should absolutely die here first. I would use the cranium on them. They're going to be throwing darts at you. They hurt really bad. On top of the boss, spamming you with damage. Unstoppables should be stunned until you get a grip on the situation, which is to say, kill most of everything else. You can absolutely use craniums here for the kills, or if you want to save it for the boss, you can too. That's totally fine. Just, it's a spontaneous decision that you need to make. Then, we're going to chunk the boss down to that first HP marker, where a lot of stuff's going to happen. First, you're going to get 2 platforms spawning above the arena with 2 Minotaurs per platform and a bunch of goblins. Taken Blights are going to spawn in, slowing you down. Clear out a couple manually if you need to do that. And the boss is going to be in the middle, just kind of being annoying. Thrall are going to spawn in as well and just kind of roam around. 2 ways of going about doing this. Number 1, use the craniums and just nuke everything immediately. Number 2, save the craniums for the next boss section of health. In my opinion, you should definitely save craniums here. Thrall are not that hard to kill whatsoever, and the goblins and minotaurs are not really that big of a threat. Use 1 cranium to clean up, and then the remaining 3 to deal with the next section coming up. As soon as all the blights are destroyed, the boss is going to move to the ramped section of the room and start shooting the Axion darts at you, or whatever they're called. You will also have taken goblins and hobs, along with 1 overload champion spawn in. Rotate to the opposite side of the arena and deal with the enemies as they come in. You can pop a super, you can use your heavy, you can use a cranium, whatever you want. Just remember that craniums despawn if you leave them on the ground for too long after picking them up. After reaching the next health checkpoint, the same thing's going to happen. 2 platforms, Minotaurs, Goblins, Thrall, you get it. Boss is going to rotate to the outside of the arena, the opposite side of where he was, and then he will continue to shoot at you. This time, we are destroying taken portal blasters instead of blights, but the premise is the same. Save and use craniums for any sort of damage that you're going to need, preferably on the boss, but I understand that juggling can be really annoying here. The main thing is that you actually use the craniums versus trying to juggle them and then lose them. I would much rather you use it on junk enemies than just lose it completely. Once you destroy all of the portals, you're going to get 1 final unstoppable champion, a couple of orange bar phalanx, and a lot of scion. So make sure you are ready as a team for that. After that final wave, you can just wail on the boss to end it. The boss is still going to be throwing out darts. Just be aware of those. But otherwise, that's it. Hopefully you have some craniums left over, which will make very short work of the boss. This boss is all about using your cranium. The more you can maximize their use, the faster and smoother this fight is going to go. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.